Dan di sebalik cabaran ekonomi global yang besar, ekonomi negara tumbuh kukuh pada 5% bagi 2015. Ia kekal dipacu permintaan domestik, namun bergerak ke hadapan pelbagai cabaran di peringkat domestik mahupun global akan mempengaruhi ekonomi negara. Dan bagi berbincang lanjut, kita bersama Ketua Pegawai Pelaburan Affin Hwang Asset Management Berhad, David Ng di talian. Hello, David.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, David, the oil price is still volatile due to the recent Saudi's announcement that they will not be cutting production, and this is going to be a burden and further push the prices lower and subsequently impacting exporting countries like Malaysia. So if the oil price continue to be lower, is there any need for us to revise our budget again?
I think if the oil price moves lower and stays lower, then yes, that possibility is there. But it is not our view that oil prices would go lower and stay lower for a prolonged period. We think that oil prices at current levels of about $30 to $35 per barrel is where it should be. And if you look at the recent budget revision by the Malaysian government, that was the oil price levels that they used in forecasting their assumptions. And the reason why...
Yes.
Sorry, the reason why we think oil prices will not stay low is because we think that the supply response would start kicking in. Not many producers are profitable at current oil prices, and over time, they will start to cut back on production and supply, and that should help provide a floor to oil prices.
Okay. So the deficit target of 3.1% this year, are we still on track given the uncertainty in the market, ringgit, oil price, and as well as global economy? What do you think?
I think, we'll have to take what the government has said, that 3.1% is achievable. I think most private sector economists think that 3.1, 3.2% is a realistic target. The reality is, yes, we talk a lot about oil as a contributor to Malaysia's government revenue. But if you look at the 2016 forecast, oil is only going to make up about 14% of total government revenue. And while a lot of the Rakyat may not like the fact that GST has been implemented, the fact that GST has been implemented, the revenue contribution from GST has actually surpassed expectations, and that has really helped from a macro standpoint, from a financial standpoint of the country, has really helped to the government to meet its revenue targets or to plug the gap from the decline in oil prices.
David, also recently, the Fitch ratings reaffirmed of Malaysia's rating at A-. How will this translate into positive sentiment in the market and help the ringgit performance?
I think if you look at the recent Fitch affirmation, that's really a testament to the fact that they feel confident of Malaysia's deficit targets of 3.1%, as we talked about earlier. In terms of sentiment towards the market and to the ringgit, if you step back 1-2 months ago, we've actually seen, since the beginning of the year, in fact, that the correlation between the ringgit and oil prices has declined. We had oil prices coming down, but the ringgit continued to hold up and even appreciate on a year-to-date basis. So from that, we can judge that the ringgit is actually undervalued, and we've been saying that for a long while. It's just that sentiment on Malaysia has been negative in the past year. But from a fundamentals perspective, I think the ringgit is undervalued, and the Fitch affirmation of our ratings should help support the valuation of the ringgit, and we think the ringgit potentially has room to appreciate.
All right, that's good to know. Okay, China's economy remains slow and they are still working on reforming the structural and its economic policy. How is this eventually going to impact our exports, given that China is our major trading partner? And what is the forecast for first half, at least for our economy?
I think a China slowdown would affect not just Malaysia. Of course, as you rightly pointed out, I think takes up about 12% of our total exports. It will be a global phenomenon because China is a very big component of global supply chain. And if you look at the composition of Malaysia's exports to China, yes, we do export commodities, palm oil, maybe oil-related products, but a large proportion of our export to China is actually in intermediate goods. So Malaysia is also part of this global supply chain, which goes to producing electronics, gadgets, which are consumed by consumers all over the world, not just China. And if global growth slows down, as we foresee, China slows down because of the restructuring that she's undergoing, the country is undergoing, then yes, Malaysia's export to China would also soften. But bear in mind, though, and this comes back to the ringgit, if you look at the ringgit and compare the depreciation of the ringgit against our competitors, the ringgit has actually depreciated by more. And this is a benefit to Malaysia for our manufacturing sector because it makes us more competitive. And if you look at the export data over the last year or so, although on the commodity side our export numbers declined, on the manufacturing side or the non-commodity side, the value of our exports actually increased. And I think that's a reflection of the increased competitiveness of some of our manufacturing sector. I think the other point to note also is that it's not just China, but what Malaysia is doing domestically and the fiscal stimulus that we're trying to implement, the encouragement of FDIs should also help to underpin the Malaysian GDP growth story.
All right, thank you so much, David, for the insight. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
Baiklah, itu tadi David Ng, Chief Investment Officer Affin Hwang Asset Management, berhad membincangkan mengenai cabaran ekonomi domestik dan juga global.